And I wasn't going to tell the whole story, you see. But now I have to. I point blank asked him if there was something going on between him and my daughter. Hey, daughter. I mean, Zora. Heard you guys had a live about me.
I was a great wife. I was the best wife.
Hey guys, I hope you're doing so well today. So forgive me because it is past midnight, which I'm not like, my bedtime's like 9 o'clock, okay? So this is like really late for me, but this is the only time that I really had to be able to like sit down and chat with you guys because it's been a little bit of a crazy week. Me, Tino, and our kiddo, we went away for the weekend because he was in a bodybuilding competition, and I'm giving him like a really quick little shout out because I'm just so excited for him and so proud of him. He ended up winning first place, like overall first place. He won his class and then he won first place. So that was like really exciting. And so we went away to Victoria, which, if you're not from Vancouver, it's like a little city on an island that's nearby in BC, Canada. And so we got to kind of like travel onto a ferry. We got to travel the island. And it was kind of like our first time really going away for the weekend all together as like a family. So I guess we don't really go anywhere, right? Like we kind of just like stay in Vancouver. So it was really exciting. It was a really fun weekend. So this week I've been doubling up my clients because I had to take off a couple of days from work last week in order to go to the competition. So this is kind of the only time that I could really sit down. I found this saga on TikTok. Have you heard of Melaine? Have you seen Melaine? So Melaine is a 52 or 53-year-old mother. And I know this because she mentions her age every couple of TikToks that she makes. And she makes a lot. She makes a lot of TikToks, you guys. So she is a 50-something-year-old mother and divorcee. So Melaine came on TikTok and she made a little video about how her 28-year-old daughter, okay, has run away with her husband. That that her husband left her for her daughter. She has posted this multiple times. One of her videos is going super viral because, like, obviously the idea of your husband leaving you for your daughter is insane. Like, that's not something that happens often. So Melaine has been constantly posting on TikTok about how hurt she is, how she is pushing through, how she is working through this journey of being a divorced woman, how much better off she is, like leaving her toxic family, how toxic her daughter was, like blah, blah, blah. People are really sympathizing with her, explaining how they have been in similar situations, wondering how she is possibly holding it together through such traumatic events. And if you look in her comments, a lot of people are really, truly supporting her and saying, like, you know, your daughter sucks, basically, for getting with your husband. So my impression of her, mind you, we don't have proof. We like full disclaimer, like we don't have proof really of either side, right? Like it's one of those situations. We really don't have proof of either side. My first impression is that this woman is, there's something a little bit off with her, a little bit. So we're gonna go through some of her videos. We are, and we're gonna go through it together. We're going to talk about it because I am dying to know which side you are on, because I swear if you go on TikTok, people are actually 50-50 on this, and I need to know if I'm insane for not being 50-50. So there is a lot to unpack in this series called My Husband Left Me for My Daughter. And I believe there are 5 parts. I'm not going to show all the 5 parts, but I'll show you a little bit just so that you can kind of get the vibes.
Everything that I'm about to tell you is my experience. This is what happened to me. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and that's why this is going to be a long video, because this is a year that this went on. So we have to go all the way back to June, July of 2024. My husband and I were laying in bed one night, and he just out of the blue said to me, I'm worried that I'm going to hurt myself because I'm crumbling under the financial pressure of this relationship. And I said, what do you mean? You know, he paid all the bills. I had my own business, and all the money that I made went into buying groceries and to regrowing my business. Okay?
So she goes on to explain how her daughter had recently inherited a house from her biological dad. So Melaine's husband is not her daughter's biological dad. She married somebody else. So her daughter inherited a house from her biological dad because her biological dad had passed away recently. She's renovating this inherited house. It's like an older house. They're doing like a big renovation project. A TV show had offered to feature her like doing the whole renovation. So she called up Melaine saying, hey, I really need some help. Are you able to fly to Virginia to help us paint the house? Melaine is in Idaho, so she's going to fly across the entire country to help her daughter paint the house. To which she says, yes, of course, I'll come help you. She flies over to the house and helps her paint the entire house.
I got on a plane and I flew to Virginia, and for 2 weeks I stayed at my daughter's house and I painted the whole entire home. 3 floors, doors, all the stuff, trim, like everything that they needed me to do. On the day that they were taping the show, I was still painting. Like I was painting from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night some days. Just me by myself. So I saved the day. We do the taping. While I'm there, I'm telling my daughter about what my husband had shared with me about the money and how he's concerned about harming himself. Well,
after hearing that, the daughter says to Melaine, like, well, why don't you guys come and live with me and my boyfriend? Like, we've just inherited this house. We've got this new mortgage that we have to pay. We're in the middle of renovations. Like, why don't you guys come live with us? You can help us out a little bit. You can that way pay off your debt. I even might have a job for you. The daughter at the time, she worked in a relatively small company, and she was able to talk to the boss to see if she could get Melaine's husband a job. And she actually ended up getting Melaine's husband a job.
He takes the job interview on a Thursday. And on Friday, the guy offers him the job. On Sunday, he's on a plane to Virginia to stay with my daughter and to start his new job. I stay behind in Idaho for 8 weeks to sell all of our home, to put it on the market, to show it, to pack all of our everything up. Meanwhile, I'm still running my businesses. I have an art studio, I teach online, and I had a dog sitting business. So I was taking care of both my businesses, trying to wrap up our home and everything, while he just picked up, went and started his new job, and began living with my daughter and her boyfriend. So they're working at the same company. Okay. So for 8 weeks, I'm just living my life out in Idaho, like, thinking I'm getting ready to sell my dream home. I'm going to live with my daughter. We're going to travel. We're going to get to spend time with my kids. It's going to be amazing. And I'm so excited. So I get there, 8 weeks I spend packing up everything. His new job is going great, apparently. And I'm just super happy to get there. So I drive myself all the way across the U.S., pulling a U-Haul, me and my dog, with half of our stuff. And I leave the other half in our garage in Idaho. So I get there, and I've been on the road for 4 days, mind you, okay? And they've known I'm coming for 2 weeks. And I get there with a tiny little U-Haul, expecting them to have a room cleared out for me to unpack my office so I can get to work. And they haven't even cleaned the room out. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to leave the stuff in the U-Haul till however long. Like, I've just driven cross country. I'm exhausted. They acted like they weren't even happy that I was there. So I argued with my daughter for 3 days about unpacking my stuff. And she's like, you need to paint that room before you can move in. I want this room painted and cleaned up before you move in your stuff. So I was like, okay. So I end up leaving all my stuff in the U-Haul. Basically, I unpack some stuff in around her house, and I'm forced to have to now paint this office before I can set up my space.
I thought this was really funny. I didn't notice this until someone pointed it out. Why did you have to paint that room again? I thought you went there and had already painted the entire house. It's true. She said that she went there and she painted the entire house all by herself. She made such a big point of that. So which is it? Did you paint the house or did you not paint the whole house? Something that you will notice about Melaine in these videos is that she will often and constantly contradict herself. So part 2, she does talk a lot, but the main point was that she ended up seeing a prescription that her husband had gotten at the pharmacy for a little blue pill.
Later, I get a text message on my phone, and it's from the pharmacy in town. And it says my husband's name, and it says, you have a prescription ready. And I've worked in pharmacy my whole life, so I know how pharmacies operate. When I was at my daughter's house in August, I got some migraine medication filled at that pharmacy. And I guess when they got the prescription for him, they had my phone number. So they put my phone number in as his phone number. So I got the text notification that he had a prescription ready. So when I got home that day, I said, hey, I got a text that you had a prescription ready. And I said, I thought you said that everything went great and that you didn't need any testing or whatever. And he's like, oh, well, I don't know what they called in for me. And I said, what do you mean they don't know what they called in for you? That's not how it works. The doctor asks you if you want a prescription. They ask you what pharmacy you use. They ask you if you know the phone number. They tell you they're going to fax the prescription over. They're going to call it in or email it or whatever. And then they let you know that it's going to be at the pharmacy ready for you to pick up. So what do you mean you don't know he called something in for you? And he goes, well, I don't know. I'll have to call and find out. I'll have to call the pharmacy. And I said, okay. So, I waited for like a day. And then the next day I said to him, I said, hey, what did you call the pharmacy and figure out what was going on? And he goes, yeah, it turns out he called in a little blue pill prescription for my husband. And I said, why did he do that? Because we hadn't been having sex for like 6 months because we were living in my daughter's house. And I said, who is that for? What do you mean you've never had a problem with that before? What is this? And he goes, oh, well, I did ask for it because I just got it. I got it to make me feel better. I said, to make you feel better with who? Because you're not sleeping with me. At this point, I point blank asked him if there was something going on between him and my daughter.
Her husband is getting this prescription that I'm assuming it's Viagra or something like that, but that he's getting it to use with her daughter. This is just her assumption, right? Because they spend time together. They went on a Vegas work trip together.
So February rolls around and the two of them have to go on a 5-day work trip to Las Vegas. And her boyfriend and I stay behind at the house. And for 5 days, the two of them go with their boss and, a couple other people to this convention in Las Vegas. And when they come home from that trip, my daughter is refusing to speak to me, will not speak one word to me. She comes home from the airport with him, walks in, doesn't even say hello to me. I was washing the dishes. I'll never forget it. She walked right by me, went upstairs, didn't say anything to me, and then just went on a silent treatment.
I also just noticed in this video, this is in the part 2, there's a brief moment of the video where she does like a cut, but the captions continue.
And then her poor boyfriend, he doesn't know what to do. I can tell that he feels so sorry for me, but he can't stop it.
She says he can't stop it because she hates him as much as she hates me, and he knows it. And she cut that part out. So that's really interesting that she is going back and she's editing her videos. To me, that kind of proves that she is just saying whatever she wants to say in the videos, and she's going back and she's watching them and she's saying, I shouldn't say that. Let's just cut that part out. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to do this. I don't know. That's a little bit odd. She thinks that her daughter hates her boyfriend and that her boyfriend knows it. That is interesting.
He's telling me he's refusing to stop involving my daughter, who's 28, and not his child, in our marriage while we're living in her house. And so, of course, everything that they're communicating, I'm the bad guy in the situation. So she's taking it all out on me. Pretty soon, the two of them are just feeding off of each other.
I'm the bad guy in this situation. I'm the bad guy, she says. That is one of the first things that you hear from a narcissist is, I'm the bad guy. Oh, woe is me. I'm the bad guy. I'm the victim. Everyone's out to get me. I'm emphasizing this because we are just in the beginning, you guys. We are not even scratching the surface. When I tell you this lady has fans, she has thousands of people in her comments in every single video, thousands of people who are on her side and just are flabbergasted that she is not believed by everybody. So this one, for example, says, why are people saying she's lying? She seems to be truthful to me. I'm sorry you went through this.
At this point, it's March, and I'm ready to bounce. I've got to get out of this toxic environment. I'm going to go back to my house and make sure everything is copacetic with my home and sale of my property. So I drive myself back to Idaho, stay there for 2 weeks, getting all my stuff ready. Meanwhile, I'm thinking that my husband and I are going to buy some property. We're going to start building a home. I am still like hoping that my marriage is going to survive this move and the situation with my daughter. And I'm thinking that maybe I can salvage my marriage if I get out from under her roof, okay, and just get back to focusing on me and my husband. So I get back to Idaho. I'm doing all this stuff with my house. I'm making sure that my brother's company is doing all the things that they're supposed to be doing and that my house is prepared and ready for the new owners. And so 4 days before we're supposed to close on my house, my husband flies into Boise, and I go to pick him up at the airport. And it was like 1:30 in the morning when his flight arrives. And I am so happy to see him. I'm so excited to see him because I'm like, oh my God, I finally have my husband here without my daughter around. We're going to be in our house. Like, we can finally have some alone time. And so we get back home. Of course, we're like intimate because we haven't seen each other for 2 weeks. Plus, we hadn't been being intimate because we were living with her.
Tell me if you disagree. I understand. It might be a little bit weird. It would be weird. Like, it would be a little bit weird if you were living under your daughter's roof, right? And you're with your husband trying to figure out like times that you could like whatever. But the fact that she says, like, she said it twice. She said it 2 times, 2 separate times. Like, I hadn't been intimate with my husband for 6 months because I was living under my daughter's roof, because I was living with my daughter. She is putting all the blame of her lack of intimacy with her partner on her daughter. That's not great. That's not great. The thing about narcissists, they always have to find somebody to blame. So they can never just look inward. They can never figure out for themselves, you know, maybe we just had issues in our marriage. She has to say, no, we couldn't be intimate because we were at my daughter's house.
So then he looks at me and he goes, I have to tell you something. Remind you, it's 6:15 in the morning. And I said, what? And he goes, I talked to a lawyer. And I said, about what? And he said, a divorce. And I said, what do you mean? We'd just been looking at houses. We'd just been intimate for 2 or whatever, 3 nights. Like, you were just telling me how amazing that everything was going to be. And I just looked right at him and I said, have you told my daughter this? And he didn't answer me. And I said, did you tell my daughter that you saw a lawyer? And he said, yes. He told my daughter several weeks before that he had got an attorney about a divorce. And so yeah, she knew about it before I did. And I still didn't know the extent of their relationship, and I still don't. And I'm never going to say that something sexual happened because I can't prove that. All I know is what happened to me and what it looks like.
She says that she will never say that they had a sexual relationship because she doesn't have proof. Multiple times over the past year, she has posted on TikTok strongly insinuating that her daughter was sleeping with her husband. So I removed the sound for copyright, obviously, but it says, when your toxic daughter is trolling your page and quickly finds in the comment section that her mom actually isn't the problem, and she's lip syncing to the song Ain't It Fun by Paramore. So she does like a lot of these lip syncing videos. But my point is that she'll make these like cryptic videos that don't really say anything, but it mentions her daughter, and then she'll post something like this. In this post, she never flat out said my husband cheated on me, but just posting that after posting something about your toxic daughter, it makes people kind of try to put 2 and 2 together, and she knows this. And then posted this one, a drag path, but it's me healing last year after my husband left me for my daughter. So that you can't even argue that she is trying to imply that the husband and the daughter are seeing each other, like in a relationship. Of course, people in the comments will ask her, do you have the receipts? Because they're asking for proof, and she'll do something like this where she's like, yeah, I do have the receipts, but she'll never actually post the proof. Here's another similar post. It's a different one a little bit later on. It just looks like it's the same post. So a bit of a trigger warning for this one because she talks about self-exiting, but this part is just after she explained that she was so hurt from the daughter, she was thinking about harming herself. So obviously, because this is a sensitive topic in particular, I'm not going to comment on what I think about it, but I do want you to just listen to this this story that she seemed to have created in her head. And just listen to how she explains the details of like even the emotions of the other people. Like she's not just talking about herself, she's talking about like how everybody feels about her.
I just imagined Hank, you know, my neighbor, big burly guy, looked just like Newman from Seinfeld, and he laughed just like Newman. Everything about him was Newman. And I just remember thinking that he would be the one that would find me. And that I would never want to do that to anybody that I care about. So at the end of the day, I didn't do it. Not because I wasn't in the worst agony that I could ever imagine a person being in. But I took that moment and I thought about my neighbor Hank Newman. And how if he walked in and found me like that, nobody, you know, it might be a really long time before anybody heard him laugh like Newman again. And I knew that would be a memory and an experience that he would never forget. And he would live the rest of his life wondering what more he could have done to help me. Could he have been a better friend? Could he have checked on me earlier? Could he have brought me, you know, could they have helped me financially? Like that, you just would go through the gamut of blaming yourself. And I would never have been able to feel good about the fact that all those people in the campground who became my family when all this happened, who checked on me every day, who brought me meals, who invited me to cookouts, all of those people would have sat around a campfire at night wondering what more they could have done to help me come out of this, even though I never asked for anyone's help. And I just want to end the video by saying this to you guys. There are no winners in this situation. People have been leaving comments about that, you know, I'm a horrible parent and I'm ruining my daughter's life and all these things. And that was never my intention. I just started documenting my journey and it turned into this. It's been a year. I never anticipated that video would go viral and I don't want to hurt my family. Nobody deserves hate from millions of people and it's going to be hard for them to come and read these comments. And I think that's karma enough. So please be kind to each other. And if you made it to the end of this video, please like and comment.
Guess what you've done, little girl? You've exposed yourself. You've exposed yourself to the true story of what you did to me and how you were single-handedly behind the demise of my marriage, my reputation, and my sanity. And if any one of your ass friends wants to come on this app and make stupid videos thinking that they know what went on because they've only heard your side of the story, well, sweetie, they're going to be very, very surprised to hear the lengths that you went to ruin my life.
Apparently, and I couldn't find this video because I tried, honestly, like I tried scrolling so far back, but she ended up trashing her husband's, I think it was his storage unit. I'm not too sure, but she destroyed his property of some sort and ended up getting arrested. And then she was detained to be basically kind of like a welfare check, you know, like to see if her mental health is in check because she seemed like a bit of a Looney Tune, right? So it wasn't actually her husband and her daughter who did that. It was the police, because that was the steps that they had to take to ensure that she was all right.
And I destroyed everything in that storage unit. And I recorded it and I made a TikTok video. And my daughter, believe it or not, was the first one to call the police. Because, see, she'd been stalking me. You know, they'd both been viewing my videos all summer. So she was the first one to call the police, and then he called the police. And then the police showed up at my camper to tell me that they were arresting me. And, but they weren't going to take me to jail because it was a civil matter, not a criminal matter. And the sheriff told me that he urged my husband not to press charges because the case would get thrown out, but he didn't care. He wanted me arrested. So the police showed up at my camper that night at like, I don't even know what time it was, 9 o'clock or something, and told me that they weren't going to arrest me, that they were going to, that I needed to show up for court, which I said, okay, great. And then I made a TikTok video about how I didn't get arrested. And when I did that, my husband and my daughter decided that it'd be fun to go to the magistrate's office and complain and file a complaint that I'm a danger to myself and to society and to them, and that they think I need a mental health evaluation. That was at like 10.
From what I understand, her daughter ended up deleting a bunch of things that she had posted because her mom just kind of like reacts even more negatively towards the post, and it kind of just like fires her up more. So she ended up just deleting everything to hopefully calm her mom down a bit. But anyway, her mom ended up screenshotting this post and reposted it to her TikTok page, and it says, "Sometimes you have to watch your mom publicly accuse you of sleeping with her husband and go about your day," which is like a TikTok trend going around. And her mom screenshotted it and added, "You've just sealed your fate." So, okay, you guys, I have to go to bed because I have to actually work in the morning. So I will see you guys in a minute. Okay, guys, I'm back. I had to work for a couple of hours, but I'm back. We were going through the series, right? So she continues on in part 4 about how she finally left the house. She told her husband, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be taking the camper. I'm going to be taking the truck." Even though they were in his name, she says, well, they were marital property or marital assets, I guess. So she technically was allowed to take them. Or something like that. So she took them both, that they officially decided that they were going to divorce, that it was very amicable.
I tell my husband that I'm going to take our little 17-foot camper and our Toyota Tacoma. Both things were in his name, but we were married, so they were considered marital property. He had a work truck, so he told me I could take the one truck that we had and the camper, and I was going to go live in the camper on the campground because there was no housing to speak of. I still didn't have steady income. You know, we had just moved there. I'm self-employed. Like I couldn't have rented a place if I wanted to financially at that time. So I take the truck and I take the camper and we take it over to the campground. He helps me get it all set up. We both agree that this marriage isn't working. We're going to go our separate ways. It was very amicable.
Okay, so she's saying that it was amicable. She took the camper, she took the truck, yada, yada, yada. So that sounds all fine and dandy. But what I have an issue with Melaine in particular is she will say stuff like this where she's like, it was an amicable split. I took the camper. I decided to go to the campground. But then she'll post something on TikTok like this: exiled to a 17-foot camper. Exiled. Like, I can't play the music because of the copyright, but there's really sad dramatic music going, and she's like, "Oh, I'm exiled to this camper. I can't believe it." Like, she posts stuff like that all the time, and yet she comes on here and she says, I took the camper, I took the truck, and then I went to the campground. And it was like, okay, you chose to do that.
It was very amicable. I decided I was going to buy my own truck and trailer because I needed something bigger for me. So I went and did that. I returned his truck and trailer to him with a very nice note with the keys telling him where his things were.
So she returned his truck
and trailer to him with a very nice note.
So at first when I heard that, because she had just said that she couldn't afford to pay rent, right? She said, "I couldn't afford to pay rent. There was no housing available for me. My finances were not aligned. I'm self-employed." But then she was like, well, and then I felt like buying a bigger truck and a bigger trailer, so I did. And for a second I was like, okay, well, maybe she sold the truck and the trailer that she had and bought a bigger one. Like, I don't know, like maybe she like put it on credit or something. But no, she says that she returned that truck and trailer to him. So you can afford to just like flat out buy a brand new truck, a bigger truck and a bigger trailer, a bigger camper. But you can't afford to rent somewhere. Like, does that make sense to anybody? Am I crazy? Somebody commented, "You raised her though, so what did you do in her childhood that made her turn out toxic?" She said, "Actually, I only raised her until she was 10, and then she went to go live with my abusive ex-husband. She'll be the first one to tell you that her dad, quote, raised her alone," with a smiley face. A couple of issues that I have with that. First of all, she knew apparently that ex was abusive, allegedly, right? I don't know. The daughter hasn't said anything about her dad being abusive, but Melaine seems to think that he was, or at least she's saying that she was. Why would you let your 10-year-old daughter go and live with an abusive man? Why would you, like, she's 10 years old. Would you not want to fight? Like, that's a child. You can't make your own decisions as a child. It's your responsibility as a mother to protect your child. And the way that she's wording it there, it actually seems like she's almost blaming her for going to live with her dad, her quote unquote abusive dad. I'm not I'm not really sure. She does a lot of these like lip syncing videos, and then she puts some kind of like comment on the screen, which is like really nasty towards her daughter. And it's just like, she's just like taunting her, being mean, like being a bully. It's just nasty behavior, and it's not behavior that you would ever expect from a normal mom. Like, she genuinely does not seem like she is mentally well. And it just blows my mind how many people are in her comments supporting her and are just like, I don't blame you for being this way. If my daughter ran away with my husband, I would be acting the same, blah blah blah. But if you just take like 2 seconds to scroll, she has a whole playlist called Discarded by Family. So in her Discarded by Family playlist, she talks about a few of her family members. She talks about her children. She talks about her father, or she talks about her husband. All these people in her life, all the closest people in her life, apparently just abandoned her and discarded her and hate her for no reason, and she's the victim. That's just like the whole story of her life, right? She's the victim. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. So we're continuing on with part 4. She starts to explain why she got arrested. And she got thrown into a mental hospital. So I guess, like, she goes with them, she gets evaluated, whatever. But then she, of course, has to take advantage of that situation because she's the victim, even though she's the one that trashed the place and got herself arrested and got herself mentally evaluated for her behavior, for her own behavior. She's still the victim, right? So then she posts this on TikTok.
It's almost 11 o'clock at night, and I literally had just turned the light off to go to sleep, and I could see flashing lights out my camper window. Immediate panic has set in, and I'm wrecked. Let me show you guys what I saw tonight.
Yeah, so I don't know, that was like an ambulance or something in the dark, but apparently she had a panic attack because it was so traumatizing to her to get arrested for doing something that you should be arrested for, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Here's another woe is me post where she's, laying in bed. Again, it's like sad music playing. She's just recording herself. It says, when life feels like knowing you weren't even chosen by your own children. Very sad life that she's living, hey? Somebody, I guess, made a fake account, put the username Zora, and just started commenting on her videos. And
Hey, daughter. I mean, Zora. Where'd all your comments go? You deleted all your comments? Why'd you do that? Well, no worries. I screenshotted them all before you could delete them. So I have proof of all the harassment that I've been dealing with all summer. I love receipts. They're so fun. And your IP address won't lie. So don't worry, I got you covered, babe. Just out of curiosity, how many of you would like to live with someone who speaks to them this way? Because this is an everyday occurrence with my daughter. When she was speaking to me, of course.
Obviously, I can't prove whether or not that was the daughter. We do have some messages that are actually from the daughter to Melaine. And the way that she speaks, like the way that she tries to interact with Melaine, it doesn't at all come across as the same person. So I don't know. I can't obviously prove that this Zora person is or isn't the daughter. Personally, I don't think it is. I think maybe it's just a troll on the internet who is either trying to convince Melaine it is her daughter. Maybe it even is Melaine commenting on her own posts. Like, we don't know, right? Maybe it's one of the daughter's friends. Who knows? I genuinely, I don't think that is the daughter, though. But anyway, so here are a couple of texts from the daughter to Melaine where she is trying to reach out and kind of like reason with Melaine and try to say, listen, like, I really do care about you, but you seem to really be struggling like with your mental health, and I really want you to seek help and seek therapy. And she doesn't say it in like a rude or a snarky way or anything. She says it like from genuine concern, in my opinion, right? She says, I want to start by saying that this is not easy for me, and I imagine it's not easy for you to hear. This is coming from a place of love and care, and I'm hoping we can have an honest conversation about something that's been affecting all of us for a long time. Over the years, I've watched a pattern in your relationships with your family, your partners, and even close friends. It almost seems like a reoccurring cycle of conflicts that end in destruction, where things become so strained that people leave. So, just from looking at this woman's TikTok page, I feel like I could have come to that conclusion, and I'm not her daughter, you know? I think we all have kind of come to that conclusion. Like, she's very much playing the victim. She's like, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you all hate me, like, you all, like, every single person in her life, her daughter, her husband, her father, her other children. I don't know. She has other children. Apparently, they're not speaking to her either. Everybody just is out to get her, right? Anyway, she continues. It's become clear to me that these actions are damaging to you and those who want to be there for you. I know this is hard to hear, but I want you to understand, just like someone that is struggling with addiction who needs rehab, there's a real need for change. You're caught in a pattern, and it's going to continue to hurt you and everyone else unless it's addressed. This is why I strongly believe therapy is essential, not just for your well-being, but so you can have a healthy, supportive, and then it cuts off. It goes into part 5, but it's not, she doesn't really say anything more in part 5. It's just her going on more and more about, like, oh, woe is me, like, you guys think I'm crazy. So anyway, I'm going to show a couple of responses from the daughter's friend. So from what I gather, the daughter, from what I understand, she hasn't come out and made like an official response. Apparently there was a live stream, which I can't find anywhere. And I'm like, if there was a live stream, like, you'd think somebody would have a copy of it, but apparently there was a live stream, because the only reason I think there's a live stream is because Melaine came on and said, like, oh, you guys had a live stream about me or whatever. Hang on.
Heard you guys had a live about me. Invited some of my ex-friends. That's so fun. I'm sorry I missed it.
Anyway, I don't really want to watch any more of her, because she, like, it creeps me out, honestly. But they had a live stream, I guess, and I would have loved to be able to hear something directly from the daughter, but we don't really get any response directly from the daughter besides her most recent post, where all she did was show, like, pictures and videos of her and her boyfriend, I guess insinuating that they're a happy couple, and she's obviously not with the husband, that she has a boyfriend. And she captioned it like, when your mother accuses you of sleeping with her husband or something like that, or when your mother accuses you of running away with her husband or something like that. And then there's like a picture of the daughter's boyfriend and the husband, right? And they're like friends or whatever. So basically she's saying, like, there is no problem here. Like, I'm not with the husband, I'm with my boyfriend. This is all just lies, right? Besides that post, there's nothing else from the daughter, but there is a friend of the daughter who is kind of speaking on her behalf, because from what I gather, the daughter isn't responding because any sort of response kind of just eggs on Melaine, you know, like, it really just, like, riles her up. And if that's the case, I don't blame her. I don't blame her because of how insane Melaine already is with no responses. You know what I mean? Like, her daughter hasn't posted anything, anything besides, obviously, when she saw that Melaine was going viral for saying, oh, my daughter left me for my husband left me for my daughter, or whatever she said. She made a post saying, like, by the way, that's not true. That didn't happen. And that's all she did. And Melaine has spiraled and gone into this 5-part series and been posting, like, all this stuff. So I don't blame her for not outwardly coming on and making a response or saying something, because honestly, I would be terrified too if this was my mother. And, like, I wouldn't even want to put energy into it, because it's just too much. But the friend did respond, so let's just listen to the friend.
TikTok drama is not fucking funny when you know the people actually involved, and I wish that y'all would realize that. That shit of that lady posting, like, oh, me healing after my husband left me for my daughter, she's full of shit. I know her daughter. I know her daughter. Her daughter's in a relationship. She did not do nothing to that fucking lady. That lady's some type of narcissist, and she's getting up here slandering somebody I know's name for shits and giggles. And what really sent me, because I've been telling her daughter, don't really say shit, just let it go, let it roll off your back. But what's getting me, and the reason I'm saying something, is because she's gonna have the nerve to post her daughter's deceased grandmothers and say, I wonder what they would think of you knowing what you did, knowing you're fucking lying. Knowing you're fucking lying. Meaning you don't even have enough respect for the dead to stop lying on your own child. You don't have enough respect for yourself to stop lying on your own child. And when people get in her comments and they're like, hey, you're really vague about what's happening here. You're not making any sense. You're not answering any of the questions. She just likes the comment. Then the daughter messaged someone trying to defend herself, which is why I be telling people, you ain't always got to defend yourself. And it's like, hey, I actually didn't do any of this. And I don't know why my mother, the person who fucking birthed me, is on a smear campaign. I can only believe it's for, I don't fucking know, likes and views. That's what I'm saying.
So in case you're wondering what the screenshot says, it says, hi, I thought you should know since you seem to believe it. I never slept with my mother's ex. I invited them both to live with me and my boyfriend of 5 years. Notice how she actually never makes that claim. She just says that he left her for me, keeps it intentionally vague for rage bait. And then the friend obviously didn't believe her, screenshotted it, sent it to the mother, and Melaine posted it.
That part. But she messages someone and that person's like, no, I believe her, and sent the screenshot to her mom. Her mom posts the fucking screenshot and it's like, oh, you seem guilty because you're defending yourself. What type of fucking weirdos are on this fucking app?
At that point, to me, it would seem really exhausting, like when you're even directly reaching out to people who you apparently know and are like, this is not true, like this never happened, and they're just like, I don't believe you. I'm going to believe Melaine. So that kind of further convinces me that she's not responding because like she feels like there's no point.
Get why you're confused, but you're confused because what she's saying doesn't make any sense. What has been happening is this woman has been coming up here for a year, defaming her daughter and her ex-husband, and nobody has said shit. The daughter reached out to me, my friend reached out to me and basically said, I'm losing it with this.
I'm going to try to read this. The wording is a little bit off, but I'm going to try to make it make sense. So she says, I just think it's crazy. She says, I caused her to call the police and that she blocked me, but she's acting sad I don't talk to her. Like she clearly hates me. And what kind of mother hates her own child? She really glosses over how we were estranged and I invited her to live with me to help her out of debt because she pressured her husband to get a timeshare and he agreed because she said she would get a job. Oh, that's interesting. She will lose her mind if you say she doesn't have a job because she claims to be a business owner. What I'm getting from this is that she pressured her husband to get a timeshare. So she said that she would get a job and that she would pay for that timeshare, but then she never ended up getting a job. And that's why the husband went into debt because he couldn't pay for all the bills plus the timeshare.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to say something. However, again, this woman has led people, including her own followers, to believe that her ex-husband left her for her daughter, that they were in a relationship. She has admitted this herself in her comments up until this point. The version of the story she is telling now is because people started saying, I would sue you for defamation. So now she's making it very clear, oh no, it's just a little breadcrumb. However, I have sense. If I seen somebody backtracking that way, I would also be able to tell they're not telling the truth. Furthermore, if somebody has been getting up here and telling a story and they are publicly accused of lying and they say, you keep coming at me, you keep accusing me of lying and I'm going to post the receipts. And those people say, fuck it, post the receipts. In fact, her daughter has posted receipts. I posted receipts of her admitting in the comments that she led people to believe falsely that her husband slept with her daughter. Her daughter has been posting mad receipts that the video is not true, that her mother has been lying on her for a year. But even if I did not know a single fucking person involved, my immediate response would be, white people just be lying. I don't know nothing about this. I don't know who to believe unless somebody has promised me receipts, right? This happened. Somebody says it didn't. They say, oh, well, it didn't happen how you think. And then they say it did happen again. And then they say, I'm going to post receipts come Monday. Monday comes. There's not a receipt in sight. Just a completely different version of the story she told.
It's not just the videos that I've shown you. There are so many videos on her page. You just have to scroll where she's talking about her husband leaving her for her daughter, how her daughter and her husband are together, how this one is about how all men are cheaters. So she says in one video where she's like, I don't have any actual proof, but then she'll post something like this where she's like, all men are cheaters and talking about how they all have affairs and how like nasty men are basically. And when you post things like that, like cryptic little TikToks like that, which don't really give any facts or any specific information, but just like a blanket statement, like all men are cheaters, where she can do what she's doing and say, well, technically, I never accused her and my husband of cheating. She knew what she was implying, whether she truly believed it or not. She knows what she was implying. Like, she was doing that on purpose. Another thing that she points out is the fact that she goes to this house in Virginia and she was like the only person painting, that she did the whole thing herself. And she posts this picture that says, spent 6 hours on my hands and knees with a toothbrush cleaning the original 1910 hardwood floors in my daughter's house, thinking how happy she would be. But then if you simply go to the daughter's page, all you see are videos of her daughter mopping those exact floors. Her daughter renovating the entire house herself. Endless videos of her daughter doing the renovations. I couldn't find any videos of her daughter painting, which was what Melaine originally said she was there to do, was to do the painting. So I don't know, maybe she did the painting. Like I looked, like I couldn't find any videos of her daughter painting, but the daughter did mop the floors. Like, there's proof right there that the daughter was mopping the floors. So Melaine having like a screenshot of the floor and saying that she was scrubbing the floors with a toothbrush. Okay, if she chose to do that, that's weird, first of all, because there was a mop. Clearly there was a mop. Her daughter had the mop. Oh my God. It's just, it drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely crazy, because it would be one thing if nobody believed her, but there are so many people who are on her side. So many people are like, oh my God, Melaine, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Push through it. There are people paying her. Okay, she's making money from this. And it is just, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. Like, look, like she says, life update, your donations paid for my truck maintenance, thankful for you. Like, I don't know if she has a GoFundMe or whatever, honestly, like I'm not going to look into it, but she's making money obviously from TikTok. And I guess people are donating to her because they feel sorry for her. And I'm just like, you guys cannot feel sorry for this woman. If every single person in your life is turning against you and you're the common denominator, that's something that you really need to look at. You need to look inward. You need to get help. You need to get therapy. You are not mentally well. That's all I can say. And she's just like in denial. And I feel really bad for the daughter, to be honest. I'm happy that the ex-husband is out of there. There is a theory that this is rage bait and they're doing it for views, because the daughter is on this TV show on Hulu. She's, like I said, she's doing the renovations for this house, and they did an episode. They might have even done 2 episodes, but they at least did 1 episode of her renovating this house. And people are theorizing like, oh, maybe this is just for promotion. But the way that Melaine has been crashing out for the past year on TikTok, just so, if it was just for the promotion for the TV show, I feel like she just would have done it recently. But she got herself arrested, you know? Like, I don't think that's for promo. I think that's just mental health, you know? So I don't mean to laugh. Like, this is not really a funny situation. I just laugh I laugh for uncomfortability reasons. Anyway, I'm just about ready to wrap this up because but let's just play a couple more little fun little. So here's she's going to explain the boomerang effect. So get ready for this.
Boomerang. The law of reciprocity. It's based in physics and science. You throw a boomerang out, it's going to come back to you, oftentimes multiplied. Oftentimes stronger and more intense than the one you threw out the first time. That's the thing that these haters don't understand. You can try to ruin someone's life, but karma always comes around, just like a boomerang. The law of reciprocity.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but I just can't take her seriously. Anyway, here's one dancing when I guess she finally got divorced, and she's like, yeah. Although, also, I'm going to be putting music over these for like copyright reasons, but So she's dancing to the song Celebrate, like celebrate good times, come on. But yeah, so and then her socks say eat a bag of dicks. So that's lovely. Like, this is somebody's mother. I want to hear from the other children. I want to hear from this daughter, first of all, although I don't feel like she doesn't need to say anything. I think Melaine crashing out and Melaine making all of these TikToks, you think that would be enough. But apparently to a lot of the population on TikTok, it's not, which is unfortunate. She's not doing very well. I hope that she does get help. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. This has been a long video. I didn't even get through half of it. But if you guys do want to see more, definitely do check out her page. Go through any of the videos, any of them, you know, like there's just endless content. So anyway, that's all we have. I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful, beautiful, sunshiny day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video for engagement, and if you do have any comments, definitely leave them down below. I would love to know your opinion, and follow along if there are any updates. I'm going to be back on here giving you an update. So anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.